At it again, and we've got some absolutely breaking news, right? The quiet part has been said out loud. We've all speculated about this, but we've never had actual proof or confirmation of it, right? And there's a lot of things that are that way, and a lot of things are actually being confirmed. But before we get into this story here, make sure you guys hit that like button, okay? Really helps out with the YouTube algorithm and getting these videos out to more and more people. I know it's a small gesture, but hitting that thumbs up really does help. And if you are not subscribed to the channel already, hit that subscribe button down below and join the family. Join the family. All right, what are you waiting on? And make sure you guys are following me on social media. All of those links are down below. Instagram, Twitter, Truth Social, all of that good stuff is in the description box below. And with all that being said, let's dive in.
Documents obtained by The Intercept are revealing that Facebook and Twitter were closely collaborating with the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI to police what they call as disinformation on everything from the withdrawal of our troops from Afghanistan to the origins of COVID. Now, the documents also reveal that an FBI agent named Laura Demlow was in direct communication with Facebook and helped spearhead the decision to suppress the Hunter Biden laptop story in 2020. Now, one of the more remarkable findings.
Now, we all speculated about this. We had some ideas, you know? We knew, but we didn't know. You know what I mean? We couldn't confirm it. Now, we can.
From investigative journalist Lee Fang, who uncovered this, was that Facebook and Twitter created special portals for the government to rapidly request takedowns of content. And how did DHS justify?
I believe that Facebook portal is still open.
All of this. Well, they argued that, of course, false information is a source of radicalization and violence. In other words, it's licensed to censor their political opponents.
It's funny that they say false information because time and time again, they've been wrong about false information. Because, for one, the Hunter situation, right? Oh, that's disinformation. That's propaganda. That's fake news. Oh. 6 months later, it was actually real. And there have been other instances of the same sort of thing happening. They tell us it's misinformation. 6 to 7 months later, we find out it wasn't. It was actually real. So why do we even still have this thing? I'll tell you why. It's to control the population. When you can control speech, it's a lot easier to control the population. When you can control what people say out loud in public for others to hear, it's a lot easier to control an entire population. I mean, because while you're never going to be able to control what people say behind closed doors, right? But that's just with a few people. When people can speak freely out in the open to a vast audience, when you can control that, you have true power. And honestly, they have true power. That's why they were panicking over the whole Twitter situation. You guys remember there was Joe and the government were like investigating Elon and the Twitter acquisition and all of this stuff when like billionaires own all of these different companies. So why is it an issue when Elon purchases Twitter? I'll tell you why. Elon said he was going to allow people to speak freely. And they find an issue with that because the last regime that reigned over Twitter, they didn't allow that. Have you guys noticed more recently, Joe's been fact-checked on Twitter? When's the last time you saw that? I thought fact-checking was supposed to be for everyone. And honestly, it never occurred to me until I saw that he was being fact-checked. I was like, hold on, wait a second. Actually, I've never seen Joe get fact-checked. Or whoever is tweeting from that account, because it's not Joe, right? It ain't him. Everybody else is being fact-checked, but like people on the left can just say anything and everything and nope, no fact check. That's why they're panicking. But anyway, let's continue on.
Joining me now is Miranda Devine, New York Post columnist, Fox News contributor, author of The Laptop from Hell. Miranda, can't think of a better guest tonight to have on, given what we've discovered. How big a story is this?
Huge.
Look, it's enormous, Laura. I think that the cover-up that we've found out from the FBI in collusion with big tech over our story, the laptop from hell story, is bigger than the original story of corruption. And now we see that it expands right across to all these other issues. I mean, all sorts of things that were awkward disasters for the Biden administration end up being what's being suppressed. So obviously, this is the Biden administration basically harnessing the power of big tech and the security apparatus to silence dissent, to stop their critics. And I guess that's because the Democrats don't have a record to run on, so all they can do is lie and gaslight people and try and bury the truth. And we'll see next week how successful that's been.
Now, Miranda, among
Facts.
really...
They can't stand on these policies, so all they can do is silence the actual truth. We're not going to let them speak freely.
alarming findings was that former Twitter legal head, Vijaya Gadde, who Musk he fired last week, met monthly with DHS to discuss the plans for censorship. Now, I know this doesn't surprise you coming from the New York Post because your stories were suppressed. But it looks like your work was part of what they were looking to suppress, obviously, here.
Absolutely was. And we know that because Mark Zuckerberg has admitted that Facebook came to his people just before our story broke in October of 2020 and warned them about a story to look out for a dump of information that looked just like our story. As Zuckerberg said, it fit the pattern. And that was the same FBI agents who are now named in this lawsuit, Missouri versus Biden, and which is exposing all these internal documents, these internal emails at Twitter and Facebook, and showing how widespread this censorship campaign was. It wasn't just over the Hunter Biden laptop, that's what we had discovered, but turns out it was over a whole range of issues. Whatever was uncomfortable to the Biden administration, you had their agencies, DHS, FBI, reaching out to Facebook and Twitter and Microsoft, all the sort of social media companies and big tech. And unfortunately, it seems that the executives of big tech were more than happy to cravenly roll over.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're extensions of the DNC at this point. And by the way, the documents that you're referencing, it's broader. J.P. Morgan attended nearly all the Cybersecurity Advisory Committee meetings on misinformation and disinformation. Again, quickly, Miranda, they're laying the groundwork, are they not, for this idea of debanking to become an even more mainstream strategy, removing the ability of people to invest money, borrow money, house money in certain institutions. It looks like this is where it's going.
It's really chilling. We saw a taste of that, of course, with the Canadian protests, and we've seen it here with GoFundMe, not just closing down anything to do with conservatives. This is a terrifying Stasi-like, CCP China-like collusion between all corporate, big tech, whatever you call it, and one side of politics. And this is why they're going completely nuts about Elon Musk buying Twitter. Free speech is their enemy, and they're trying to close it down.
Miranda, thank you so much for your reporting and your commentary on this tonight. It's so important.
Also, there is an article here that I wanted to touch on because there was something very important that I wanted you guys to take a look at. So it says basically in this article that I believe the Orange Man was the one that actually signed this into law. It says here, the stepped-up counter-disinformation effort began in 2018 following high-profile hacking incidents of U.S. firms when Congress passed and President Donald Trump signed the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency Act, forming a new wing of DHS devoted to protecting critical national infrastructure. Now, with that being said, while he may have signed it into law, I don't think he actually read, the fine print, so to speak, right? I think somebody briefed him on part of what was in it, and he considered it a good idea, which on its surface, it doesn't sound terrible, right? Hey, we need to address this cybersecurity issue. There's been some hacking of some high profile U.S. firms, so we want to make sure we address that issue, right? On its surface, it doesn't sound bad. But what my belief is I don't think he read the fine print, or he read the fine print. I mean, I'm sure he had a million things going on, right? As the leader of the free world, I mean, you're probably not sitting around reading the fine print of everything that you sign into law, especially in a situation like this. So I don't think it was done intentional by him. But that was part of the facts about this situation, which I found kind of interesting, because when I first read that, I was like, why would he sign something like that? And then it occurred to me, oh, maybe he didn't actually fully read it, because y'all know I try to put myself in other people's shoes to try to garner a better understanding of, why people do certain things. So, I was like, well, let me put myself in his shoes. If I'm the leader of the free world and somebody comes to me with that kind of bill, which I'm sure it's probably long, I'm not going to sit there and read the whole thing. Like, I've got better things to do. I'm going to have somebody brief, hey, so what's actually all in this thing, which I'm sure is what actually happened. And he wasn't aware of how far reaching this would actually go, because it actually came back to bite him. Right. And I'm sure, if he read through it, he would have realized that. I mean, as crazy as much as people want to consider him a crazy lunatic, I feel like he's a smart guy. So if he would have read it, he would have realized, nah, this is a bit invasive. No, I'm not signing this, kind of situation. Restructure this and then bring it back to me, kind of thing. But yeah, absolute breaking news. We now have real evidence of them colluding. And, I think it's gone way too far at this point. I think, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we could go back to having a completely unbiased justice system. I don't know. Me personally, I just want a world where, I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't wish harm on anybody. I just want to be able to speak the truth freely, have, a range of different ideas and topics free flowing throughout our society. And for some odd reason, they hate that idea and will probably call me, some type of extremist because of it. And I'm just like, how? I don't wish harm on anybody. Like, I just want people to speak the truth freely and not be censored on what is total BS. But what do you guys think the solution to this issue is? Do you think it's too far gone, so there's nothing that we can do? Do you think we could abolish some agencies and reconstruct a newer one? I don't know. Y'all talk to me. What are some of your ideas in the comment section below? Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. Peace and love. I'm out.